welcome. And joining us today is someone that I've been following her story since it happened over 15 years ago. Erin Runnion. You are the founder of the Joyful Child Foundation. And for those of you who don't know what that is or why she founded it, Erin's about to tell you right now. It's a sad story. It's a tearjerker, but it's also the story of a mom who really turned around a horrible tragedy to make sure it doesn't happen to somebody else. So, yes. Erin, thanks for being here and tell us a little about the Joyful Child Foundation.
I started the Joyful Child in 2002 in the aftermath of my daughter Samantha Runnion's abduction and murder. Samantha was playing outside with her best friend. It was a beautiful summer evening in July of 2002. A car pulled up, a man got out, asked the girls if they would help him find his lost puppy, and then grabbed her. She kicked and screamed and had the presence of mind to yell to her friend, "Go tell my grandma," because my husband and I were both at work and my mom was home with the kids. And she was found the very next day having been sexually assaulted and murdered. It was 11 days before her 6th birthday. And in all of the days that followed, I had to learn about the spectrum of crimes against children because I had to have some context for what had happened. I really thought stranger abductions never happened. And then the more that I learned, the more compelled I was to do something to stop it.
What do you mean you didn't think stranger abductions didn't happen? You just didn't believe what you heard in the news, really?
Well, that it was all over the news at the time. I mean, the media called it the summer of abductions because Danielle Van Dam's murder trial in San Diego had just started.
Mm-hmm.
Elizabeth Smart had been abducted just a month earlier. But what I was hearing in the news was that your chances of winning the lottery were higher than having your child taken from a stranger. And the reality is that of all of the abductions, and there are over 800,000 children reported missing every year, of those, 58,000 are non-family related abductions. And of those, less than 1% are stereotypical kidnappings like my daughter, where it's a total stranger and the child is not recovered alive.
So if you don't mind, I'm going to take you back to that moment. You're at work. Mom is watching the kids.
Yes.
What did this do to mom? I mean, the way this tears apart families, I can't even imagine.
Yeah. Well, my mom and I are very, very close, and she has since passed away, but it was absolutely devastating for her. I never for a second did I blame her.
Of course not.
But she certainly had some guilt, but at the same time, it was more, she was so angry that, Samantha was my only biological child, her only biological grandchild. We were a blended family.
And beautiful. Such a face, beautiful little face and eyes and smile and just so joyful.
Yes, absolutely. And that's why I call it the Joyful Child, because afterwards, when I decided that I had to create some purpose out of this senseless horror, I kept focusing on the joyful child. That's what she was, and that's what I want parents and caregivers and teachers to protect. I want them to protect not just their bodies, but their joy.
So what does the Joyful Child Foundation do? I know that it's a lot about educating kids.
Yes.
And you put this education program into schools.
Correct.
Tell us about that. Like, what do you teach these kids specifically?
Yes. Well, over the years, we've evolved. So when I first started, I was really afraid of scaring children. So we did not do any child education to begin with. But as we trained all of these parents, what they kept telling me was, how do we teach our children without scaring them? That's what we really want. So we evolved. And in 2013, we launched what we call the Brave Initiative to protect and empower every child. And our Be Brave, Be Safe curriculum is an elementary school curriculum. We've trained over 350 teachers to bring safety education into the classroom. And it's a universal prevention program. So it's really a self-advocacy program. They learn all about standing up for themselves, trusting if something makes them feel uncomfortable to tell somebody. But we also teach them verbal and physical defense skills to resist and escape potential abductions or harm.
Give me a couple of examples, concrete, for people who are not going through your system.
Yes.
And where you're not in their school system. Although the hope is, I know, to grow throughout California.
Yes.
Grow throughout the country, perhaps beyond the every child.
Yes. Yeah. Our real goal this year is to start creating and producing video lessons so that educators and parents throughout the country can download those lessons and facilitate those lessons.
Yeah, you can play it in the classroom.
Absolutely.
You can play it at home while the kid's having a snack. Just say, look, Johnny, just let's watch this with mom and dad,
Right.
and
Right.
make it short, I guess, right? So
Yep.
the kids,
Super short.
attention
That's
span
important.
is there, right? So
Yes.
give me a couple skills for kids
Yes.
and parents.
Well, I think the most important thing for parents to realize is I think I took a lot for granted. Samantha was super smart, and
Yeah.
children don't know that it's okay to be rude to someone unless we give them that permission.
But he grabbed her. What was she to do?
Right? Absolutely.
And she even did the right thing by saying, tell my grandma. I mean,
Right.
what a smart little girl.
Oh, and she kicked and screamed and scratched till he bled. Like his DNA helped convict him ultimately. But there's so much more that we can teach them. So some of the skills that I wish I had taught her, we call it torpedo eyes. And the kids take their little fingers like this. And if somebody picks you up and they're not allowed to, you can go straight at their eyes. And very difficult to pick up a child if you're getting torpedoed in the eyeballs.
What about the punch under the nose? If they're able to.
Absolutely.
If they're able to.
If they're able to. Absolutely.
What about
we
if
limit it to just a handful of physical skills that are most likely to work in the case of an abduction?
What about if they, are smart enough to tie the kid's hands up or something? What else
Right.
can they do?
Your whole body is a defense weapon. You really have stuff all over. So we teach them skills with their feet and their knees and even their heads. So they have options. There's other things that they can do.
How have you evolved over these many years? It's been 16 years,
Yes.
right?
Yeah.
I can't really imagine the level of grief that you go through for years
Right.
and that you're still going through. I don't believe grief ever goes away.
No.
Right? I'm sure
Right.
every morning you wake up with it, or maybe not. I don't know.
Right.
But I guess it evolves, right?
It
Into
does
doing
evolve.
something.
Yes.
Tell me about that.
Yeah. Well, I was really lucky because I had no idea when I started The Joyful Child that it would be so healing for me. And I am very grateful and blessed to have had the opportunity to do this work because it gives me a way to bring Samantha into my every single day.
Gives
in
her
a
purpose.
positive way.
Purpose to her life
Yes.
without a doubt.
Yes.
Do you feel like she's watching and, that she's played a hand in having you do this to help other
I certainly
kids?
feel her all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So tell me a little bit about the rest of life. You said you have other children.
We do have other children. So we were a blended family. Samantha ended up in the middle there. We had been a blended family for 2 years. And the year she was taken was actually the first year that we had full custody of both my husband's previous children. And so we have a daughter who is 6 years older. And she is high functioning autistic. She's doing fabulously well. Now they're all grown up. It's so crazy.
It goes fast. Are
It
any of
goes
them
so
helping you
fast.
with this or helping get the word
They've
out?
all volunteered. Yes, they all volunteer in different ways. Yeah. So Paige, my eldest, she helps with data entry and with office stuff. And Connor, who is just 10 months younger than Samantha, he was trained as an assistant instructor years ago and has helped throughout.
I know they were very close.
They were very close.
And how has he evolved, emotionally after all this happened?
He's pretty amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think he's brilliant, and he and Samantha had a very healthy and amazing competition with each other because as the older one, she was kind of in shock when they were 3.5, 4, and he was reading and she's looking at him going, wait a second.
Wait a minute. I got to do that too.
Yep.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah. So I give them pencils and they'd circle all the words that they knew in their books, and they were adorable together. But he's doing fantastic. He's applying to law schools right now.
It's brilliant for someone like you for what you're trying to do around California and around the country.
Yes.
Social media is a big help, right?
It is. And it took me so long to come around to it, but I am finally putting myself out there.
Well, it can be for good things. It's not always about the selfie. It's about all sorts of things.
Yes. Yes.
And I know that I found you. I think I need a little water, anybody, because I have a little cold. Sorry. Sorry. Forgive me, everybody. This is live.
Worries.
This is live, so this is what happens.
That's what happens.
But how has that helped you get in touch with people and get in touch with people who can help you?
Right. Well, I have really only begun to reemerge on social media. And so, and the real reason is because I feel like I had to retreat for a while and cultivate and protect my own joy. So I'm kind of sharing that journey of how I did that because so many people come to me and ask me, how is it that I am joyful?
How though? I mean, and I know the Joyful Child Foundation helps you,
right.
but you still emotionally have to be able to get up.
Process it all.
and
Yeah.
process it. What did you do? Was it faith? Was it going outdoors? Was it family?
Yeah.
Everything?
All of it.
Yeah.
All of it. It was really connecting to the truth of it. I think that was the first and the hardest thing, was getting to a place where I accepted the totally unacceptable, and feeling that grief, letting myself go into dark places, knowing that I had a support system in place to pull me out.
When something like that happens, do you literally go through each step wondering exactly what happened and what she tried to do? Because
Yes.
I have friends whose children have been murdered.
Yeah.
And another friend, she started a foundation. Her child was mowed down on the road. It was disgusting. And the level of grief.
Yeah.
And I can only imagine, right? You sit with it. You sit with her at the moment. Am I right?
Yes. Oh, absolutely. You hear her screams. It is, you imagine every possible scenario, because of course the man who took her never confessed. He was convicted. I should always mention that. He is in jail. He's never getting out.
Death row.
Death row.
It probably couldn't be soon enough. Am I right? I mean, I don't understand. Is it always held up with appeals, or is
it's
it
mandatory? Yes. So one of the things I do is I speak to law enforcement agencies as a victim to share with them kind of what, in our case, the Orange County Sheriff's Department and a whole collaboration of law enforcement agencies handled our case so well, and really set me up to be able to focus on grief and not worry about the investigation and the trial. And part of that, the most important piece, was communication.
Mhm.
So as soon as they arrested the perpetrator, the DA and prosecutor who was going to be in charge of the case came and met with us and told us that it was going to be a death penalty case, which meant it was going to be at least 3 to 5 years. And they even explained right from then that as a death penalty case, upon conviction, there are 2 mandatory appeals in the state of California, each of which take about 10 years. Each.
So it gives them an extra 20 years of life.
Minimum.
Oh.
Yes.
Are you doing anything to, shorten that time, or are you really focusing more on the efforts of helping kids?
Yes. No, I as long as he never gets out, I am perfectly content.
The Joyful Child Foundation, do you have an idea of how many kids you may have helped? If parents come up to you or teachers and said, you don't get it, that kid went kicking and screaming because of you.
Right.
Do you know?
Yes. Well, we have a vague idea. We know that we've reached at least 25,000 children and their parents through the BRAVE programs. And we've had stories of children who, got lost and knew to go to the police station, or they were being followed and they ran in the opposite direction and told somebody right away and called 911.
Mm-hmm.
We've had a couple of children who were tried to be enticed by toys or games in cars, and they knew what to do. So the ones that get away, they make it. The very first one, makes it all worth it.
Bravo, Erin, and bravo, Samantha, because your name and your little smiling face is stamped all over this.
Yes.
I really believe that.
Oh, absolutely.
People who want to get in touch with you, for you to give speeches, because you're an incredible speaker.
Thank you.
I've heard you speak. And how can they do that?
Yes.
And then how can they get a hold of you to put your program into their schools?
Absolutely. Please visit thejoyfulchild.org. It's thejoyfulchild.org. And you can contact us through that website. I also just launched my own website for speaking and writing, and that's erinrunnion.com. And also, we have a Brave Race coming. Can I talk about that?
Yes.
Yay.
Yes. That's what initially attracted me, the race. Because when I see anything about races, I'm all over it.
Right? That's awesome.
I've done a couple of marathons, but now my legs are hurting.
I'm so impressed.
I know, but I did too many and then I ruined my knees. So, but a 5K I should be able to get through. So let's talk about that and the money that you're raising with that. Go ahead.
Okay. So the Brave Race 5K and Joyful Child Fun Run for Children, that is going to be on February 23rd in Aliso Viejo. It starts and finishes at the Aliso Niguel High School. And it's a beautiful, fast track start and finish. And
or if you're a walker, you can do it too.
Yes, absolutely.
That's another thing. Like, you don't have to be like this power runner or even a power walker. You can just walk. And it's a 5K.
Yes.
Kind of anybody can do that. You know what I mean?
It really is
at
doable.
your own pace.
Yes, it takes you about 30 minutes to walk it. You'll be okay. You can do this.
So how do people sign up for that? And then how much a mile? I mean, what do you do?
So it's a $35 registration fee. You go to thejoyfulchild.org and click on the image of the Brave Race that pops up. And if you register before January 23rd, you get a free dry fit red Brave Race 2019 t-shirt. They're very cool. They're very comfortable. And you have to register by the 23rd to guarantee your shirt. But you can even come same day, and
you can register same. I've done that many times. You know what's great about these races for a cause?
Mm-hmm.
They're a lot of fun. A lot of people can be intimidated because, again, I am a walker and a runner, and I just try and get my friends out and say, no, come. It's fun. You can be the slowest one. They're not going to close the trail.
No.
You really do feel like you're part of the community.
Absolutely.
And you do some good, whatever it is that you raise, whatever you can.
Right. And that's what it was for me. I have wanted to do a race forever because, I mean, it's called the Joyful Child Foundation, but because it's born out of tragedy, it makes people sad, right? So to have an event where it is just all positive, it's tons of families and schools coming out, and my whole vision from the very beginning was uniting communities for child protection. And this race really feels like that kind of family-friendly event for everyone.
And you're also working on videos as well that you can get out there.
Yes.
But also,
all of the proceeds will go towards those video productions.
Toward the video productions. Okay. And also you are in some schools where?
We are in Westminster, Garden Grove. We have a school in Tustin and in Irvine. And we are we have talks all over, actually. We just trained 41 teachers at the Public Safety Academy in San Bernardino. So we are getting bigger.
Also
slowly
churches and synagogues too?
Yes, absolutely. And we do workshops everywhere. We have tons of community partners that we do workshops for. So we really do try to, because our high-risk youth, those who are living in high-risk communities or in transitional living shelters, those kids need this information right now. So for those, we have a team of amazing instructors, and they go and do workshops for those folks.
Yeah, and I really hope that you take this wider. I told you I'm trying to, connect you with my friend who was kind of behind the entire Amber Alert.
That's amazing.
And she was so excited about talking to you. The more you get it out there, people want to help. They want to do something in Samantha's name and in other kids' names. So thank you. Thanks for all you're doing. I really loved having you on here.
Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah. And I hope to see you also for the race. So that should be fun too.
That will be fun.
Anyway, please sign up. Go to erinrunnion.com.
Yes.
Okay. And the Joyful Child Foundation to donate. We will also put it out there on our social media. Should you forget that. So thank you again, everybody, for being here. And we will see you next time. Deborah Kobylt Live. Bye-bye.